Good morning. Thank you for joining us live here on India Today. I'm Akshita Nandagopal, joining you as always to get you all of the top stories of the day that we're tracking here on India Today. First it's that time of the year again where every morning we're talking about the air pollution in Delhi. Another morning that if you live in Delhi, you're woken up to smoggy air again. And it's not just in Delhi, but the national capital region. Across, you're seeing the air quality index again hitting new highs, really, which means that pollution levels are going up, air quality is going down. And it's unfortunate, really, that you're seeing this kind of a situation every single year. If you look at the data that's just come in from SAFAR, which is the air quality monitoring data agency, you can see that the air quality is just slightly improved, nothing that we can afford to celebrate, because yesterday, while it was in the severe category, now it's in the very poor category, and that too in the higher side of the very poor category. The severe level is of course higher than this, but experts did say that slightly there'd be a very small improvement in the air quality because of weather conditions improving. There are of course a number of factors leading to this kind of pollution every single year in Delhi. The number one contributing factor is farm fires, stubble burning. But add to that is also certain environmental conditions. The fact that you don't have a lot of wind at this time of the year means that essentially this pollution hovers above Delhi like a cloud and doesn't move away. So the air is not circulating, which is what leads to this pollution essentially staying stagnant on Delhi and the national capital region. But obviously the question that then arises is, why aren't we controlling farm fires? Well, the Delhi government, as is the case every single year, has said that it's because neighboring states are simply not doing their bit. And if you look at the kind of data that we have, you can catch details here on India Today by the Data Intelligence Unit as well, that shows you how a rise, an increase in farm fires and stubble burning has directly led to a rise in pollution levels in Delhi as well. Make no mistake, this is something that we need to arrest immediately. Because of the wind direction, all of the farm fires in Punjab, the smoke gets pushed directly in the direction of Delhi and the national capital region and then just stays there, which is why we're having such a big problem with the smog also in Delhi every single morning. It does get better by evening, but experts have said that if you live in Delhi or in the NCR region, don't step out early in the morning or late in the night, because that's when pollution levels really peak. Add to that is the fact that now you've got the Yamuna river also very polluted. There have been very scary images, footage. I'm sure if you're on social media, you've seen these pictures of what the Yamuna currently looks like. There's froth literally floating on these rivers, and this is toxic froth. This is a result of, untreated sewage water, polluted water being pumped into the Yamuna. And perhaps every administration is to blame for this. And it clearly means that, this is a practice and a pattern that's going unchecked. But what's worrying is that, this is the time when you see Chhath Puja celebrations. It's a puja and a practice, a festival that essentially is observed by women, particularly from Bihar and Jharkhand. And to celebrate, they have to take a dip in a river or in a water body, and many of them are doing it despite this kind of toxic froth that's gathered in the Yamuna. And that kind of horrifying pictures, when you see so many people gathered there amid this polluted water taking a holy dip despite the kind of toxic froth that's floating on it, is a serious cause of concern. Now, amid this, there's also another fallout of this kind of pollution, which is that there's a water shortage now in the national capital. Ammonia levels, because of the pollution in Yamuna, has gone up, and what that's meant is that sewage treatment plants that are treating the Yamuna river and passing on water to households are struggling to cope, which means the water supply has reduced as well. Now again, the Delhi government has been asked about what's being done to address this issue. They've said that the BJP is to blame. You have this all-out political war, not really surprising that every party is pointing fingers at the other. The BJP is accusing AAP of stopping people from celebrating Chhath Puja in the Yamuna because they don't want publicity of the kind of scary images that are really emerging from the river. The Aam Aadmi Party, the Delhi government, has said that the reason we're seeing this kind of pollution is because of the fact that in Haryana and Uttar Pradesh, mind you, these are states where the BJP is in power, the AAP is saying that it's in these states that polluted water, untreated water is being pushed into the Yamuna, and that's why the situation is so bad in Delhi NCR. But let's keep away from all of this politics. It's you and I and any of us who live in Delhi NCR who are suffering right now. And the problem is that every single year, next year, same time, we'll be discussing the same issue again, because there's been no solution that's really been found so far. We're getting you ground reports here on India Today as well on the situation with regards to the air quality in Delhi. So stay tuned for that also. I also want to touch upon some other stories that we're tracking this Tuesday morning. One is on the situation in Chennai. Over the weekend, we saw extremely heavy rainfall in the city, again crippled the city, and it essentially brought back a lot of panic, saying that are we going to be seeing a 2015 like situation when the entire city was essentially left marooned. Since Sunday, fortunately, fingers crossed, there's not been any reports of heavy rain. There's been some sort of a reprieve. The focus in the last 24 hours or so has been on rescue, rehabilitation, etc. And that's because the weather gods have held up. There's been no heavy rain. But while at this point the Met Department has said that today you're going to be seeing some showers here and there, nothing serious today, there is a concern for the 10th and 11th November, that's tomorrow and day after, because the Met Department has said that there's another low pressure area that's moving towards Chennai and other coastal districts of Tamil Nadu. If that further intensifies into a deep depression, again it will be extremely heavy rainfall, which is why there's an orange alert that's been issued for Chennai as well as several other districts bordering Chennai and also coastal parts of Tamil Nadu. Besides that, if there's any rainfall, if there's heavy rainfall, it doesn't even need to be hitting new records. The problem is that it's already November. We've seen that in this year there's been quite a bit of rainfall in Chennai, which means all reservoirs are more or less full. They are nearing full capacity. So one or two spells of torrential rainfall will spell trouble, because water will have to be released from these reservoirs, which is why everyone is fearing that there'll be a repeat of what happened in 2015. So we'll continue getting you the latest updates on that. Very worrying, and let's all just pray and hope right now that Chennai doesn't suffer anymore, that there's no more rains and the weather gods show some mercy. 2 days, we've seen some good news, but let's hope that continues through the week as well, because for the next 5 days, there's an alert from the Met Department. There's an orange alert for heavy rains. And the other story I want to touch upon is from the world of sports. Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri have signed off. Kohli as the captain, Ravi Shastri as the head coach. Of course, we've seen many highs and lows under them, more highs perhaps than lows, but they didn't get to sign off the way they would have liked to at the T20 World Cup. Yes, they've signed off with a win against Namibia yesterday. There are videos that you can catch here on India Today also of Ravi Shastri's last speech as head coach to the entire team in the dressing room. A very emotional speech where he talks about all of the challenges that they overcame during a pandemic, all that they've achieved, and he said that this is a team that the world will look out for, one of the best teams. It will go down as one of the best cricketing teams ever. You can catch that full speech here on India Today. But of course, there are a lot of questions of who next. We already know who the next head coach is. As far as captain goes, Kohli and Ravi Shastri have more or less made it clear in also their briefings that it is going to be Rohit Sharma. So it's not really a big bang surprise announcement that we're going to be looking for, because Kohli has very clearly sent out a message that he's handing over the mantle to Rohit Sharma. Many are saying that this is the end of an era for Indian cricket, with Kohli and Ravi Shastri and this duo as they were known in cricket signing off. But let's hope that there are many more highs that we see under Rohit Sharma as well. So those are some of the top stories that we're tracking this morning. All the latest updates on these stories and much more you can catch on our website India Today and on our social media handles.